Hi there, Tanya Harris here with my new website. I'm rebranding. It's Healthy Home, Happy Family, and I am here for my What's in It Wednesday video. And I was so excited when my daughter got into my car today and said, oh my gosh, it's What's in It Wednesday. So yeah, I hope you like it as much as we're liking it. And also, if you've seen my Facebook posts and stuff, you know my husband made me this awesome sign with my logo on it. There he is, yep. So he made me my sign, so now I will be having this in most of my videos. So tonight though, we're gonna talk about sunscreen because spring break is coming up and everybody's looking for a safe sunscreen. But when I did my research on them, I was really surprised at what's in a sunscreen, and you know, there's just really no need for a lot of it, and I think you'll be surprised too. And then I have a special surprise for you at the end of this video too. So I'm going to jump right in, and the first one I'm going to talk about to read the label is going to be a Neutrogena one, and I got to find my bottle. I don't know. Yes? Okay. All right, thank you. Got my daughter, or my T-Rex. All right, so the first one I'm going to talk about is my Neutrogena Pure and Free Baby. Now this one says 100% naturally sourced sunscreen ingredients. You can see that. I don't know if you can see that because I've got my light on, right on the cover. The other one says #1 dermatologist recommended skincare. So it sounds good. It's 100% naturally sourced sunscreen ingredients. So you're thinking, oh, I would think plant-based and healthy. When you get to the back, the active ingredients are titanium dioxide and zinc oxide. That's fine. That's what a lot of the the sunscreens use, the physical blockers. But when you look on the back, you see, right away I see 2 sources of PEG. Now if you remember from my last videos, and that's what I like to do too, is just keep repeating these. So when you go to the store and you look at these labels, you're like, oh, I know what that one means. So PEG means that it's probably contaminated with ethylene oxide, which means 1,4-dioxane contamination. So if you remember what that is a probable human carcinogen, meaning it's probably cancer causing to humans, and it's also toxic to the liver and the kidneys. So in this baby one, you've got 2 sources of that. And then, let's see, sorry, I'm trying to really read close here. So the other things I see are BHT. BHT is a preservative, and it comes from coal. It's from petroleum, so like coal tar. So that's just kind of gross in the first place. But it's actually been shown to mimic estrogen in some studies, and it's also been shown in animal studies to be toxic to the liver and the kidney and the thyroid. So if you're familiar with anything that mimics estrogen or our own hormones, a lot of things that mimic estrogen is linked to like breast cancer and all sorts of different reproductive issues and that type of thing. So you don't want that in there. And you definitely don't want to put it on your baby because babies have different skin than we do. It's a lot thinner, and things can absorb really quickly. And as I say in every single video, our kids don't have the same detoxification systems we do, so they're not able to detoxify and get the chemicals out quickly. And the last one on that, oh, retinol palmitate. I didn't see that before. Retinol palmitate is like a vitamin A, and you've probably heard the studies in the last couple years about how this is the thing that if you put it on your skin and you've already got skin lesions, it can actually accelerate that. So you definitely don't want that. Plus, we get it from so many different sources in our makeup and stuff too, and the higher the vitamin A, the higher the liver toxicity. So don't put anything with retinol palmitate. I would avoid that. And the last one, methyl isothiazolinone. If you remember that one for last week too, that's a huge one. The abbreviation is luckily MIT, much easier to say, but you won't see MIT on the label. You'll see that methyl isothiazolinone. Don't worry, I'll spell it out for you. But anyway, if you remember, 2013 allergen of the year, it's been found to be toxic to human skin. So you're putting it on your baby or yourself because it's in a lot of our sunscreens too. And also lab tests have shown it to be a neurotoxin, and it's toxic to the immune system. And I see my husband's having fun with the lights. And also a scientist who was studying it said that it probably does lead to neurodevelopmental issues. And so I just wouldn't put that on myself or my child. All right, so that was a mouthful. The next one is another kids one. And this one is Copper Tone Water Babies, Pure and Simple. So this is another kids one. Okay, and this one is tear-free and #1 pediatrician recommended broad sunscreen SPF. So sounds good. It's the #1 recommended by pediatricians. So if I didn't know what I know, I would pick it up off the store shelves. But go on the back, and again, but this one doesn't have the physical blockers like the zinc oxide and the titanium. It does have zinc oxide, but it has a couple of active ingredients that, you know, aren't really good. So when you look for these, look on the top and you'll always see the active ingredients up here and the inactive down here. And really the only difference is the active ingredients are the ones that do the job. So these are the active ones that are protecting from the sun. Anything down here is like the fillers. So octinoxate is one that the environmental working group recommends avoiding. They put it on their moderate list because of possible neurodevelopmental and reproductive toxicity. Also for the possibility of it mimicking estrogen. So again, don't want to mimic estrogen. That's linked to breast cancer, fertility issues, and a whole bunch of stuff. It's also been shown to penetrate the skin. So definitely don't want that because that just means it's going directly into your bloodstream. And if you remember last week, the problem with that is it bypasses any detoxification that might take place and just goes straight through your body. The other one it's got is octosalate, and this one is a penetration enhancer, which means it actually helps those other chemicals get into your skin more easily and quickly. So you don't want that because you don't want anything with these toxic ingredients to get into your skin any easier than they already do. And then it's also associated with allergic reactions. And also, especially if you have a salicylate allergy, so if you have some type of aspirin or some type of difficulty, you definitely don't want that because it can interact. So those are just the active ingredients. And sorry, I know I'm talking fast, but I do have a surprise for you at the end, so it'll help you, I promise. Okay, so next, it's got 2 sources of PEG. Again, we talked about that. That's 1,4-dioxane exposure, which again, probably cancer causing, and also it's toxic to the liver and the kidneys. Now, here's a sneaky ingredient we've talked about before, and this one is called diazoledynyl urea, and that one is one that is a formaldehyde releaser. So even though you don't see formaldehyde on this label, it is in here because diazoledynyl urea is a formaldehyde releaser. So formaldehyde does cause cancer and a whole bunch of other things. So you don't want it, you know, it's the stuff in embalming fluid and also in science class when you're dissecting things, that horrible smell, that's formaldehyde. So yeah, you don't want that in there. Okay, the last 2 on this one, methylparaben and propylparaben. So this has 2 sources of parabens. If you remember me talking about it before, parabens are strong endocrine disruptors. That means they can disrupt any hormone in your body, basically. The endocrine system is, it's composed, it basically is your chemical messengers, your hormones. So anything that's going to interrupt a hormone doing its job, you don't want that. So this is a strong hormone or endocrine disruptor. They're basically the same thing. The hormone and the endocrine system regulates every single function of your body. So you don't want to put anything in your body that's going to interrupt that process. That's where you can see like thyroid issues come up, cancer, autoimmune diseases, pretty much you name it, it could happen. So that's it for this one, I believe. And again, with your kids, you just don't want to have that on their skin. Again, they don't have the same detoxification we do. Plus, their organs are developing and they're important systems, so you don't want to interrupt any of that while it's happening. And I have one more before I get into my safer brands because there is stuff you can do, and it's actually not too bad. It's easy to find safer sunscreen. So I'm not doing this to scare you off. I'm just doing it so you're aware that there are better brands, and sometimes the ones that you just buy out of convenience, you know, aren't that great. So, I mean, I've had to do it. So, you know, if you have to do it, you have to do it. But I just want to let you be aware that there are different ones, but you especially want to be careful about what you put on your children. But this one is Neutrogena Wet Skin Kids, and this one has quite a few. I actually write down the notes on this one because there's so many in this one in just the active ingredients. So again, I'm looking at the very top, the active ingredients right here. The first one is avobenzone, And this is the one that degrades in sunlight. So when you're putting this on, it's already degrading in sunlight. It's not going to protect you. So it needs other chemicals so that it does not degrade in sunlight. And some of those chemicals, as you're about to see, are not that great. So let's see, homosalate, that's one that's a strong endocrine disruptor. Again, messes with your hormones and your endocrine system, which your endocrine system regulates every single process of your body. If you're allergic to salicylates, this is another one to avoid, homosalate. And this one's kind of scary too, is it acts as a penetration enhancer for a certain chemical. That chemical is 2,4-D, and that's something that was actually used in Agent Orange. But it's also used on our food now. It's used to spray the crops. It's used to spray, I think, golf courses, fields, any type of turf. So if you live near a golf course or anywhere near, a park or fields where it could be sprayed, if you're using a sunscreen with homosalate in there, you could actually be increasing the chance of that awful chemical getting into your body quicker. So you don't want that. I think that one's terrifying. What's another one on here? Octocrylene. This one builds up in the body tissues, so this one just bioaccumulates, meaning it just gets stored, basically, probably in your fat, actually, is where it gets stored, which is no fun. And the last one is oxybenzone, which the Environmental Working Group says, just don't, they recommend not using it. I do too. This one's a strong endocrine disruptor again. It mimics estrogen, so again, breast cancer, fertility problems, all that good stuff, or bad stuff. Skin allergy, and again, it's a penetration enhancer too. So you have a couple in here that are going to enhance penetration and help other chemicals get into your body quicker, whether those chemicals are good or bad. And unfortunately, in this, most of them are bad. So let me see a couple other ones. Now I'm down in the inactive ingredients because I recommend definitely looking for both. So let's see. I've got retinol palmitate. So again, you want to get rid of that one because that's the vitamin A. That's the one where if you put it on your skin and you already have some sort of skin lesion, that can cause problems. And let's see, the rest of them, there's definitely some to avoid, but I don't want to get too far out of it because I don't want to overwhelm. But fragrance, that's another one I should mention. So from my other videos that fragrance is a proprietary formula. So companies are not required to disclose what's in their fragrance. And it can be made up of, I've read anywhere from a few ingredients to 100 ingredients to up to 3,000 ingredients make up fragrance. And that can include like formaldehyde releasing, so you could have some cancer causers in there, phthalates, which are huge endocrine disruptors. So I think I've said endocrine disruptors how many times tonight? It should be a drinking game. 20. So 20, yeah. So actually for all these videos, that could be a drinking game because everything really could be an endocrine disruptor. So, so you just don't know what's in fragrance. So I recommend looking for something that says scented with essential oils, or that you see exactly what's in there. If it's got like extract of something, that's what I would choose. I would definitely avoid this. But it's just kind of scary to me that this is a kid's sunscreen and you're putting endocrine disruptors on their skin, and their body systems are still developing, their hormones are still developing. I mean, a lot of this can account probably for why I think kids are going through puberty at age 7 now, which is kind of terrifying. I'm going to see. Oh, it's frightening how much nasty stuff is allowed. It really is really scary how much stuff is allowed. Thanks, Diane. Because it's just not regulated like it should be. There have been, I think, 11 chemicals that the US has banned for use in cosmetics. So that's why we have to be so educated and do this work, because we need to protect our families. I know when I was going through this, before I started reading and geeking out on all these labels, that I would just buy things that were formulated for kids because I was thinking, oh, they must be safe. But we're putting formaldehyde into their bodies, and again, I'm not doing this to make us feel guilty. I did the same things, and it can get expensive to buy better, but if we can take a few of these big ingredients out that are so common in these products, that can just make a huge impact on your family's health. So, with that being said, I actually just got back from vacation a few weeks ago, and I was going to have my bottles of my favorite sunscreens, my safer ones, but I couldn't find them. I'm a messy packer, and I guess I'm a messy unpacker because I couldn't find them anywhere. But I'm gonna give you my favorite brands. I will put something in the comments for you so you don't have to write all this stuff down. But I like Mexitan. It's Mexitan. That's probably my favorite besides Badger. I love Badger sunscreen. There's another one called Green Goddess that I like. I will say my kids don't actually like those as much, the physical blockers, because they do kind of go in a little rougher and they turn white, but you just have to rub them in really well. And I love the protection, so they're my favorite. Hi, Diane. Ah, thanks, Diane. You know who did that. I got two Dianes on here. Sorry, this one's my mother-in-law. Hi, Diane. Yeah, and if you saw it earlier, James was playing with the colors. So those are my favorites. And I think for adults, I use the Mexitan and the Badger. You can use both for the kids too. But what I want to do for you tonight is I have a sunscreen module from my Healthy Home, Healthy Kids program, which I'm redoing right now. It's not for sale, but I'm going to give it to you for free. And I'm going to put a link in the comments so that you can go to it. And all you have to do is I'll give you, I don't remember how I delivered it last time, if it was on my website, or you'll get a 100% off coupon for the course. But what it is I have an ebook I created. I have 3 videos. The first video is why you want to avoid these with your kids. The second video, and it goes in a little more detail than what I did tonight. The second video is the ingredients to avoid that I recommend avoiding. It goes into more that I went into tonight. And then the third one is how to read the labels. So you'll actually see pictures of the labels with the sunscreen, and then you know, why you want to avoid it and what to buy instead. So I do have a list of safer brands, what to look out for, and then a cheat sheet you can actually take shopping with you. So again, all that's going to be free just because it's March and spring break's coming up, and I just think this information is so important because even though we pay attention to our food and our cosmetics and probably our cleaning products too, I think sunscreen kind of slips under the bus a little bit, and so we don't always think about it. But if there are any questions. Hi Lisa, thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. And I'm glad you're on. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna see, I don't see any more questions. So if you watch this later, you didn't get a chance to catch this live, go ahead and put your questions in the comments, and I'll pop in tonight and tomorrow and see if there's any, and I'll answer them. And sorry, I know I talk fast. I know I went fast through this, but again, watch the comments. I'm gonna take this video after this, and I'm gonna put a post, and then I'm gonna put a link to how you can get that sunscreen module for free. And I think that's it. I hope that helped. Again, post your comments. I'll be happy to answer them. And I'll see you next week. Bye. Have a great night.